They're going to try and drag us to the line. They're both going to have DRS. Daniel Ricciardo slipstreams as he goes to the right. Verstappen goes to the left. But we do take a point on our debut. Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here and today it is time for me to bring you episode number 2 of our F1 2016 career mode here of course with Renault. Today we are here for round number 2 and just talking to our R&D engineer and just confirming that we have improved the car. A new part has been fitted and that's front wing turning vanes to increase the downforce on the car so it should be better through the corners. But before this episode gets underway, I have got to say a ridiculous thank you to the support on this channel recently, hitting 1,000 subscribers basically just by purely uploading the first episode of this series. Over 5,000 views as I'm commentating it. It's just astonishing. So thank you guys so much. If we could again hit 100 likes on an episode of this series, that would be massively appreciated. And make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for, of course, more F1 2016 content in the future. But now, getting back to this second episode, the story really is, can we make it 2 from 2? We got 10th place in Australia and hence a point. You can see there a moment ago that Sauber have also made gains in terms of R&D, so we'll be hoping to keep them behind us. They are still behind us in terms of the vehicle comparison, but they have made gains. They're further away from Mana now. They've increased their lead over Mana and they're now closer to us, and I think Ferrari also improving their engine as well. But getting into practice and just doing the track acclimatization, you can see the first lap wasn't exactly perfect. We missed turn 1 in fact, so we got off to a pretty poor start, but we still actually managed to beat the green sort of score or whatever, the target, and now coming around for a second lap, and we're now going to go ahead and beat the purple one, getting just exactly the right amount of points that we needed to get, 445. But into the tyre wear test, and it didn't exactly go to plan, let's be honest. There, a massive moment and a massive spin, tapping the barrier, going through the gravel. It looked like quite a cool incident actually, in fairness, but we didn't manage unfortunately to get the tyre wear test done or the qualifying pace. Both of those tests beat us, but we do now have 335 resource points to spend. We're going to leave the upgrades though until the end of the race and we'll get them sorted so they're fitted onto the car for China. But after practice then, and after improving the car a little bit there with some more downforce, I guess it's time to move into the qualifying report. Ferrari showed promise in Q1 as Sebastian Vettel was fastest in an attempt to break Mercedes' dominance. Marcus Ericsson showed good pace but missed out on Q2 in 17th, ahead of both of the Renaults. Status quo was seemingly restored in session 2 as Lewis Hamilton was fastest from Nico Rosberg. Valtteri Bottas' qualifying hoodoo returned as he was only 13th. Jenson Button made it into Q3 for McLaren as both Force Indias missed out again. But in the shootout, Ferrari's promise came into fruition. Sebastian Vettel took pole from Nico Rosberg, whilst Lewis Hamilton was way down in 6th.
I'm sure the guys are just as gutted as I am, but we win and we lose together, so it's really a case of trying to figure out the issue and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Max Verstappen took a solid 3rd from Red Bull teammate Daniel Ricciardo. So the grid for the Bahrain Grand Prix looks like this, with Sebastian Vettel on pole from fellow countryman Nico Rosberg, with the 2 Red Bulls of Verstappen and Ricciardo on row 2. Kimi Raikkonen is P5 from Lewis Hamilton way down in P6, with Massa and Kvyat in P7 and P8. Then it's Jenson Button, Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez and Fernando Alonso to round out the top 12. So after scoring points in our first Grand Prix in Formula 1, we're not getting any preferential treatment. We start 18th on the grid once again. Our objective from the team was to start 15th or higher, therefore to make it into Q2 really. Unfortunately, we did not do that. You can see there the sun is setting here in Bahrain. 26 degrees is the air temperature. But we did manage to beat our teammate Kevin Magnussen, so that will go towards our rivalry with the other Renault driver, the Dane, and also improve our standing in the team. You can see the Drivers' Championship is being led currently by Vettel after he won in Australia, but shockingly the Constructors' Championship is being led by McLaren, and Sebastian Vettel, who's top of the driver standings, is on pole here again. So the Ferrari driver is getting off to a wonderful start. Maybe that engine upgrade really helping them out in terms of performance, certainly here in Bahrain. Maybe they're getting the better of Mercedes. As you can see, here is the strategy in the background. Super soft, then 2 sets of softs till the end. I did consider starting on a set of the yellow-walled soft tyres and then ending on super softs, but apparently that strategy was somehow slower, even though it's the same tyre compound. So we started on the fastest possible time. We're getting away for the formation lap. This time, not going into anti-stall, so at least that's some sort of game. We've already got better than we were at round 1, so that's something. Still starting 18th on the grid. The scenery in front of us is slightly different. It's not the same yellow as we're running. It's not Kevin Magnussen in front of us. It's the rather blue and yellow mobile of Marcus Ericsson in the Sauber, but the lights are now starting to illuminate at the end of the formation lap. We are getting ready to get underway for the second round of the season, and the lights are now out, and we are underway here in Bahrain for round number 2 of this F1 2016 career mode. It's a good start. We've already got past Marcus Ericsson, but Gutierrez is stretching his legs down towards turn 1, thinking of a move of the inside of the Mexican, but he turns in on us there very, very aggressively, gives us no space whatsoever. We have to chop across turn 2, and we let himself and Nico Hulkenberg through there out of the end of turn 2. 1 position gain though. We've got yellow flags behind. There's been some sort of incident on the mini-map down towards turn 3, and everyone brakes massively, and we've slammed into the back end of Esteban Gutierrez. And, I mean, the safety car is out. It's our full safety car. It's our first safety car of the entire series. We haven't even had a virtual safety car yet. But everyone just braking. The AI just completely brake checking us there. And we slammed into the back of Esteban Gutierrez. We have technically gained on Nico Hulkenberg. You can see that there from the back end of the other Haas. That was Romain Grosjean, who got a pretty awful start, actually. He's got his teammate just behind him. Let's have a look, though, at what caused the safety car in the first place. We're on board with the medium shod manner of Rio Haryanto. You can see us going off there, and we're just going to get the absolute hip and shoulder from Felipe Nasr going through turn 2, and poor Rio Haryanto reverses into the gravel. He's still in the race, and now back onto lap 1 here. Right at the end of the lap, we've got massive amounts of damage to our front wing, so we're going to take the advantage, really, of the safety car and bomb into the pit lane here for a very early pit stop today, and we're going to change our strategy. We're going to go against what our engineers said once again, like we did in Australia, and we're going to change from the super softs to the yellow walled soft tyres, and we're going to go for a little bit of a longer first stint, or technically second stint, but first real stint of this race. The front wing is damaged, and we've now got the rest of this lap to now catch up to the safety car train, which shouldn't be too much of a hassle. Obviously, the rest of the field going a lot slower, so we lost a lot less time when it comes to the pit stop, even though it was a 10-second pit stop due to changing our front wing. But a fairly explosive start then to this second episode, this second race of the season here. The safety car is out. We've broken our front wing on Esteban Gutierrez, and there's been all sorts of incidents here on the first lap. On to lap 3 now. The safety car's been out for 2 laps. The safety car that was coming in, we've caught up to the back of the train. It's actually Nico Rosberg at the back of it. It looks as if the train has started to go, but we've actually jumped the gun there, and we just about avoid Nico Rosberg. I think the guy at the start of the train must have gone and then stopped again, and we've got an engine blowout just to add to the mix. Marcus Ericsson Sauber, his power unit's given up on him. He's out of the race. Nico Rosberg's pitting again. He came in on the same lap as us. I don't know why. He must have been going for a different strategy, but he put another set of super softs in, and he's into the pit lane again. What on earth is going on in this second episode of this series? Marcus Ericsson, as soon as the safety car goes in, he just puts the power on, and his power unit just simply implodes underneath him. We, though, are bearing down on the manner of Rio Haryanto on the slowest possible tyres. He started on the mediums, and we're going to waste no time whatsoever by jumping up the inside of him there into turn 4. But what on earth happened? The mystery of Nico Rosberg is about to be explained. You can see Marcus Ericsson basically just imploding there behind him, and Rosberg into the pit lane on those super softs, but his crew wasn't ready for him. It turns out he actually got a drive-through penalty for an infringement under the safety car, which bamboozles me even more, because we actually overtook Nico Rosberg under the safety car. Clearly the game registered it as green flag conditions because the pack had already started, but we were certainly caught out under the safety car, and we need to be more aware of what's going on. We're starting by catching Nasr, Magnussen and Verline in front of us. Verline's trying to pass Magnussen. Nasr's dabbed off the throttle on the straight. We've had to duck out of the slipstream of him, and we've lunged up the inside now of Magnussen and Verline. Can we complete a 3-in-1 move? Yes, we can. We drive around the outside of Verline, who's also, sorry, on the soft tyres, and Magnussen and Nasr have been dispatched at the same time. What on earth Nasr was doing? I think Verline tried to pass Magnussen and did so. He successfully managed that task. and for some reason NASA just decided to like dab off the throttle or brake behind and almost brake checked us again. The AI for some reason are really wanting us to hit them from the back end. Don't take that wrong. Just, you know, I can see what you're thinking. Let's just stop that. Anyway, we've got some welcome action here in the background to sort of detract from those dirty thoughts as we're going past Esteban Gutierrez there, who's seriously lacking in some straight line speed. I think he's suffering an issue there in that Haas. So that's another position gain. So, what, we've passed Haryanto on the first lap after the safety car. We've then passed Verline, Magnussen and Nasser in one go. And we've now passed Gutierrez, and now we're on the back of Hulkenberg, who's on the same tyres as us. We are really connecting well with these yellow walled soft tyres. We've got some really good pace. We're going to have DRS here because we're now on to lap number 6 and we're going to be on lap number 7. There's cars in the pit lane. The guys who started on the super softs are now pitting. We though are bearing down on the German Nico Hulkenberg in the Force India, and that is a simple move up the inside. Slight lock-up though on the front right, but we do just about get it stopped there into turn 1, and that is another position gained. We're up into P7. It won't really be a net P7 because a lot of people just pitted on that lap. I think 5 people pitted there, including the likes of Kvyat, Bottas, all the guys who started on the fastest possible tyres being the super softs. We of course technically started on the super softs, but after that front wing damage obviously changing onto the softs, and I mean, we've got a wide variance of tyre compounds because we've now got Fernando Alonso in front of us on the mediums. Some more of the super soft runners there pitting, but we are now breezing past Fernando Alonso. That was far too easy there with the DRS, and we're now up into 3rd place. But crucially, we're ahead of the likes of Alonso and Hulkenberg, who will probably be battling for points by the end of the race, so we've done a pretty good job here. We started 18th on the grid, and it is looking pretty damn good. On board here with Max Verstappen, and there's a clear delamination there on the front left, and that is a puncture for the Dutchman in the Red Bull. Not ideal for him whatsoever. A Williams has gone through. He's now going to nurse the car back to the pit lane, but he's been hit there by someone. It's a Toro Rosso, and he's now been hit by Romain Grosjean in the Haas as well, and it's all gone wrong disastrously there for Max Verstappen and for the Toro Rosso that hit him. Magnussen breezes through. There goes a Sauber as well. There's damage all over the track, and it's Carlos Sainz, and he just simply hasn't reacted whatsoever to Max Verstappen going quickly in front, going slowly, sorry, in front of him. We're now about to see a Renault breeze past. There we go, on the back straight. But disaster then for Verstappen, disaster as well for Carlos Sainz and for Romain Grosjean, who was sort of an innocent bystander there, and he lost part of his front wing, so he's now going to have to pit as well. But Max Verstappen, that's his chance of points gone in this race, and after not scoring any points in Australia, it's not a very good start to the season whatsoever for the boy wonder. Moving on though to lap number 10, and we're now about to start lap number 11, and Nico Hulkenberg on the softs has come into the pit lane, but Fernando Alonso is breezing back past, and despite having that Honda power unit in the back end of that McLaren, he's been able to breeze past us. These soft tyres were showing, I mean, we were doing well on them in comparison to other people on the softs. In terms of like sort of maximum tyre life, the Renault and the soft tyres really get on well, as we have this lovely aerial shot here of our battle with Fernando Alonso. But when they went off, they were considerably slower than the mediums, hence why Fernando Alonso managed to catch us up. We realistically probably should have pitted on the last lap. You can see Alonso hasn't gained all that much time. He probably gained about maybe 0.8 of a second on us as we come into the pit lane and lock up, and that was probably the perfect entrance there to the pit lane. That'll have gained us some time on the AI, hopefully, as we pit here onto lap number 12. We'll be hoping for a good pit stop from the Renault boys. It looks okay, not the quickest of pit stops. I think it was 2.9 seconds in the end, which isn't ideal. There's a Mana in the pit lane there. Daniel Kvyat and I think it was Felipe Massa there battling as well down the home straight. And we, though, are coming out of the pit lane. It was actually a 3.1 second pit stop, so not great at all. And that might actually cost us here as we come out of the pit lane down towards turn 1. We've got Nico Hulkenberg trying to go right around the outside. We were battling him before we came into the pit lane, and Hulkenberg sweeps around the outside on the warmer medium tyres. We, however, have got the pace advantage on Nico Hulkenberg for the rest of this stint, so we've got to make sure that we take advantage of that by passing him and also stretching away. We'll hopefully do that at some point on this lap. Moving later on to lap 12, and you can see down into this left-hander as we start the back straight. We've got DRS enabled, and we are right in the slipstream here of Nico Hülkenberg. Maybe going to try and make a move here up the inside down into this left-hander. We go for it and we make the move, stick a small lock up there on the inside front, but the job is done, and that is us up into P11. I don't really know what that is at this point in the race in terms of a net position. We've got Alonso in front of us. We were battling him at one stage. Kvyat's into the pit lane. It doesn't seem as if we're in the same race as him, but we are up into 9th place. Hamilton's coming out the pit lane as well, so we're going to go past him and up into 8th place, but obviously those guys will have more pace as this stint progresses. Hamilton, obviously in a Mercedes, in comparison to our measly Renault, you know, relatively speaking, in comparison to the almighty Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton at the wheel. We're going to struggle whether Hamilton's on mediums or not. We're coming towards the end of this stint as well. We've only got about 3 laps left before we pit, so the tyres are starting to go off in comparison to Hamilton's brand spanking new set of boots there, the white-walled mediums. We do actually get in the slipstream, and despite Hamilton actually having DRS, we actually pull alongside, but there's no point battling him, realistically. We'll just try and follow him for a little bit. Hopefully we improve our pace just by following him. But we have managed to stretch a bit of a gap now over Nico Hülkenberg, a solid 6 or 7 seconds. So hopefully we can defend that one when he's probably on the faster tyres at the end of the race. Unfortunately, we didn't really get far enough in this stint to put on a set of super softs, or in fact another set of softs. So we're going to have to jump onto the mediums to finish off this race, because although the pace of the softs was quite good at the start of the stint, when the tyre wear kicked in, they were worse than the mediums. So we might as well have consistent pace throughout the stint where we can at least defend from the likes of Hülkenberg and maybe others at the end of the race a little bit better instead of just sliding around everywhere. Out of the pit lane, and we're in P13, and we're now caught up to Rio Haryanto, who is on the soft tyres. I'm guessing he's gone for a one-stop in this race. He's currently P12, but it looks as if he's about to be dispatched by ourselves as we go down towards turn 4. Got a much better exit there out of the first few corners, ducking into the slipstream then of the Indonesian in the manner, and down the inside. This should be a simple move, but we've actually outbroken ourselves, and we locked up a little bit. Now, thankfully, we avoid a lockup, but Haryanto's going to try and get the slipstream. We've got a little bit of a lack of traction there as well. Come out of turn 4, so we'll have to try and go right around the outside there. We've lost it a little bit, and we've tapped Haryanto. Not the cleanest of moves. In fact, it's a pretty shocking move, in all honesty, from start to finish there. We've got to certainly improve our driving standards if we're going to stay ahead of the likes of Nico Hülkenberg on the faster tyre at the end of the race. Meanwhile, we've finally got Nico Rosberg breezing past us there in the second in the Mercedes, and I know he had that drive-through at the start of the race, but it has taken him quite a long time to actually catch up to us in terms of a net position. I mean, that is a net position. Neither of us have to pit until the end of the race. That is, you know, position done, and he's gone on to set fastest lap of the race. On to lap 24, and actually Felipe Massa is into the pit lane, and we are now up into P10. This is a familiar sight, isn't it? I mean, we're gunning for for 2 out of 2 in terms of points. On to lap 24, but we have got Nico Hülkenberg and Felipe Massa closing us down. You can see at the bottom of the screen there, the gap is currently 8 seconds with sort of 6 laps, I think it was, to go. But you can see here now, with only 2.5 laps to go, despite us being on the mediums and Hülkenberg being on the super softs, he's not actually catching us by that much per lap. It's still 4.7 seconds back to Nico Hülkenberg, and suddenly we have actually got a fantastic shout of scoring points again. We're not going to catch anyone in front of us like Rosberg or Kvyat, but we've got a good chance of holding on in front of these guys who are now slowing themselves down even more. It's Hülkenberg here, who's on older super softs and right around the outside. A beautiful move from the Brazilian Felipe Massa in the Williams there, who's on much fresher super softs. I think he's on 2 laps younger super softs, but on to the final lap, and we have still got the thick end of 3 seconds back to Felipe Massa and Nico Hülkenberg. And onto the final lap, and that gap has stayed constant because their tyres are going off, and we were talking about 2 in 2 at the start of this episode. And coming round the final corner, we are going to score points again in our second race in Formula 1. It's going to be a great start to our career here in F1 as we score points again here in Bahrain. Happened once again. Out of absolutely nowhere, we have scored points from 18th on the grid. We've had the same starting position in both races, we've had the same finishing position in both races, and Sebastian Vettel has had the same finishing position in both races as well. He wins to extend his championship lead, would you believe, in the Ferrari, who are certainly making gains on Mercedes this year, but they're just confirmation that we get into the top 10 once again. It came out of nowhere. We were really running in a net P13 for the majority of the race, and the likes of Massa and Hülkenberg messing up on strategy, not having the pace at the end, and that has gifted us P10 after a pretty horrible start to the race, realistically, with that broken front wing after the safety car. You can see the rest of the runners and riders there. Again, Alonso in the top 10, scoring more points once again for McLaren. A pretty shocking afternoon for the likes of Verstappen, Sainz and Romain Grosjean, with Marcus Ericsson being the only retirement in this race. And here is how it has affected the Drivers' Championship. We slipped down to P12 despite scoring points again because Valtteri Bottas, and I think it's Daniel Ricciardo maybe, or no, Kimi Raikkonen, sorry, have jumped us in the standings. But Vettel with maximum points, 14 points clear of Hamilton. Sergio Perez is third in the championship with Alonso and Button fourth and fifth. Then Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Kvyat, Rosberg, Bottas, Massa and ourselves. Only 12 people have scored points in the championship so far this season, but what a start to the season it has been for McLaren and Force India, well up there in third and fourth respectively in the Constructors' Championship. We are still 8th, Kevin Magnussen yet to score points, but we have done the unthinkable. It is 2 in 2. We talked about it in the intro, and we have done what most people probably doubted that we could, and we have scored points in our second race in Formula 1 after scoring points, or a point even, in our debut as well. You can see the resource points there. We got 124, which means we have 545 in total. That means we can make a big power unit upgrade for the next Grand Prix in China, so stick around for that. We'll also have another upgrade as well on the monkey seat, I think, which comes in China as well, because we set another upgrade to go. So we're going to have another upgrade in China, and then we'll have an upgrade for the weekend after that as well. We're thrashing Magnussen in the rivalry 22-12 after getting fastest lap and all the fastest sectors, as well as beating him in the race. But what a start to our career it has been. 2 P10s. Can we potentially even build on that for the next Grand Prix in China? You guys will have to wait and see. Make sure to slap a like on this video if you enjoyed. You guys have gone ham on this series so far. You can continue to do so by hitting like and by hitting subscribe if you're new to the channel. Make sure to do that. There will be mountains of F1 content coming soon, as well as sprint mode as well online. But for now, that is it from me. Comment about enjoying the video if you enjoyed it that much. Stick around for round 3 in China, which will be up in a few days as well. But have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.